I was jamming out to that amazing music while I'm eating my dinner. Welcome, everybody. This is a special broadcast, stream, whatever you want to call it. As you all know, the big train show in Springfield, Massachusetts happened this past weekend. And unfortunately, I could not be there. But somebody called me last week and said, "Hey, do you want me to do a live wrap up of the show on your channel?" And I thought, hey, that would be kind of a cool idea because it's a really big deal, right? Amherst is like probably the biggest show in North America that I'm aware of. And so, and a lot of people were there, right? So seems like a good idea to have someone come on and tell us their impressions about it. So you don't know who it is. So I'm going to introduce you to who it is right now. Be prepared to be impressed. Are you ready? I said impressed and not depressed. Here we go. James, you got to do your best now. I built you up.
Well, I'll just let folks be disappointed for themselves. Um, so, so yeah, I was here all weekend with Model Railroad Hobbyist. Joe
Mm-hmm.
had me over at the Model Railroad Hobbyist booth to talk to folks as they would come by. One of the big things that we need for the magazine is, of course, more articles and more people to write in. So I was pumping people for articles the best that I could.
Makes
A
sense.
lot of people came by and talked. The crowds were absolutely huge. The weather for Saturday was cloudy and slightly drizzly, but above freezing. So, in other words, for New England, it was just about perfect January day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, enough that people didn't have projects that they wanted to do outside, but not enough that they wanted to be indoors at a train show. There were about 12 to 15,000 people in attendance on Saturday.
Wow, that's a big show.
That was huge. Today there wasn't nearly as much. Probably we don't have the official numbers in by any means, but around 6,000 today. Just because the weather changed overnight, became much more rainy, and snow set in as well. So, and Sundays are traditionally lighter days at train shows anyway. But
Yeah,
either way, it was a very huge attendance.
yeah.
Um,
I
and
don't know if it's the same there, but at least out here where I live, Saturdays are the day to go if you're a railroad or a train
right,
person. And Sundays they call stroller days because it's all the families that, bring their kids in, that kind of thing.
right,
So it sounds
and
like
of
it was
course
similar.
Saturday is when you have all the deals to hunt
Sure.
that you can get
Yep.
all the goods and
Yep. All the
get all
good
the
stuff is out,
leftovers
right?
and Sunday they've all done been taken, so
It's
it's
leftovers, sloppy
that's
seconds.
leftovers. Yeah, right. So this show really was huge. Certainly the biggest in North America. I think I was talking to a friend of mine from who came to the show all the way from England. He said it's even bigger than their largest show that they had there. And
Cool.
so you're talking four large buildings on a fairground. There was the Better Living Center, the largest of them. That's where Model Railroad Hobbyist had its booth. Let me quickly bring up a photo of this.
Oh, I should.
Um,
Yeah, I don't see it down there, so you'll have to share it again.
yeah, I'll share it again. That's fine. So
Oh,
this
here it
was our
comes.
booth that we were setting up on
Let me
Friday,
add that to our
just
stream.
after
Here
I
we go.
landed.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
we were booth 30, or we were stall 33 at the Better Living Center, and I did shoot video of and in fact, here's after we were already set up a little bit. It was a really nice place to sort of sit down and have a conversation. Had several lawn chairs out there, and and you could just sit down and talk. It was it was great. And in fact, we were right between. We had we had ESU lock sound on one side, and we had
Uh-huh.
TCS in front of us. So we were sort of Switzerland in the middle of these two competitors.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, but you're a
For,
big TCS guy though, so right? So
I,
you probably knew them, didn't you?
I knew the TCS guys, but I've gotten to know the lock sound guys over the last year too. They have some really neat things that they had in their displays. For example,
Sure.
their demonstration steam locomotive, which is a European model produced exclusively for lock sound, was able to shoot steam out of its cylinder cocks.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that at the show, the Rocky Mountain Train Show last year. I
Yeah,
think it sounds
yeah,
familiar.
yeah. I first saw it at Deschler myself, and they had that same unit on display, although they didn't have it steaming. Um,
Hmm.
but of course, TCS has their new layout command control system that they announced last year, and they were demonstrating it and how that works and all of that. They also had another system that responds with the throttle to provide sound to non-DCC systems. Of course, it's just a stable. It's just a stable speaker that it sends it to, not a speaker on the locomotive itself. But
Sure.
that was a pretty neat display. Now, Soundtraxx actually had uh, huge announcements here. As you may recall, they reduced their Blue Nami last year, and the Blue Nami is able to operate off of Bluetooth from your cell phone,
Yep.
and you can even dead rail, not quite dead rail that Blue Nami because the rails do need a power source or you need a battery pack.
Yeah, I was going to say
Yeah,
it depends on the scale because I have
right.
a garden
Yeah,
scale Climax that is completely dead railed, has onboard power, and so anyway.
yeah. Um, so so yeah, you can dead rail it. That does enable you to do that, and I've thought there's huge potential to use that Blue Nami uh, if you're what I like to do, you know, put a whole bunch of lighting features and sound into a locomotive and take it to an RPM meet. You don't necessarily want a whole DCC system set up on your display table, but if you bring like a 9-volt battery or enough battery power to last for the day, you can hook it up to the locomotive and still have a lot of that stuff demonstrated, um, which is nice.
Do you see the comment that just popped up?
Yeah, yeah, that
That's
came up.
Trevor, the guy who did the install on my Climax.
Yeah, well, I thought that came up a little bit early, if you ask me. Um, I'm sorry, is my sound a little bit quiet?
A
I'll
little
try and
bit,
bring the
but
microphone a little bit closer.
yeah, we can still hear you though.
Um,
So
yeah. So at any rate, Blue Nami now is available for uh, 21 pin decoders. So
oh, that's really
they've managed
exciting.
to
I didn't
shrink
hear
the
about
hardware
this.
down to the size where it does feasibly work on that. Now, George says that they're going to be going into production on that soon. That they haven't quite cleared all the hurdles for production, but they have worked out all the hurdles to get it down to that size and make it work. Um,
That's really
so
exciting stuff.
so that'll be exciting stuff and make it that much easier to install, especially on the
Right?
newer equipment that has those 21 pin boards.
Yeah.
Um,
Big. All you have to do is
one of
plug it in, right? That's great.
and one of the key themes this weekend appeared to be hoppers. So Scale Trains offered new Trinity hoppers, representing the most modern equipment that you have out there. InterMountain offered a refresh for their Pullman standard hoppers with a lot of new details that they've worked into their lineup. Class 1 Model Works introduced Trinity hoppers, and what's neat about theirs, they've actually made the hoppers with die-cast bottoms, so that the bottom chassis, the entire bottom chassis of that hopper, is die-cast metal, which brings it up to weight without having to figure out how to fill that hopper to get it up to weight otherwise. And
It's a great
it gives it
idea.
a nice low center of gravity as well. Um,
Did you happen to get the ETA on those? I think they might have posted something about that.
they may have posted something about that. I was mostly there at the show, observing and ogling at all these new models. So the hoppers were hopping. That's right, Bernard. Bernard, of course, was scanning a bunch of people. Um, he and Sparky organized sort of a mini YouTube meet and greet at
Saw
the
that.
at the booth at noon. Heath and Sparky both provided really good coverage of that. I don't actually have 1,000 viewers on my channel, so I had no way of providing live coverage on YouTube because I
Oh,
don't have 1,000 subscribers, which is fine. Um, but that was a lot of fun to meet a lot of people there and meet and greet them and talk to them. So other announcements included from Scale Trains. They're now doing a GP40 in their rivet counter line.
yeah,
Um,
saw that.
InterMountain is releasing GP18s and GP10s in various schemes, and I'll just go up to the Sheen's
Oh, here we
the
go.
screen share here.
Yep. Oh,
These are
here it
some of
is.
the
Let's
GP18s here.
I'll make
Um,
that bigger.
so in various paint schemes, let's see if I can kick that up to full screen. Come on.
It's cool that they have the. Now, are those considered test shots, or what are these that we're looking at?
These are tests. These are demonstrator units.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even know if they have. I don't even know if they're powered yet. But here they have United States Army. They have the Seaboard Lines system, or the family lines. So
Mm-hmm.
Louisville and Nassau. It looks like this letter is lettered for Seaboard. Then they had the Santa Fe Southern, which I immediately identified as the Breaking Bad locomotive. You know
Mm-hmm.
where they stop a train in order to steal the product from it to make meth. Um, but that was the locomotive that was pulling the train. Um, so that was Athens, or that was InterMountain's announcement. Sorry, I saw Chris Palomares and still somehow think Athens, but he's very much with InterMountain now.
Yeah, I just talked to Chris last week. He called me when he was on his way out to the show, which was kind of a pleasant
Yeah,
surprise.
it's always fun to talk to him for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, BLI had several announcements that they're making Penzi heavyweights, so heavyweight passenger cars are coming out again.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
what's interesting to me is that they're coming out with these heavyweight cars. They've also said they do the Union Pacific business train as well. And I was talking to their representative Koch, and he told me that they actually plan to eventually make business cars, theater cars for other railroads and that sort of thing. And that's something I've been anticipating for a long time. So if this news isn't exciting to you that they're making Pennsylvania heavyweights, just think about what the potential of this is. That there's a lot more places where this is going. This is just where they're at now. But they've also announced their Conductor Club, which is a subscription discount and extension of warranty that you can get to Broadway Limited products, because they know there's a lot of people. There's a lot of repeat customers that just have to get that new thing that comes out. So that's what they announced today.
Cool.
So that's pretty interesting.
Quick
Rapido
que-
announced the return. Go ahead.
I have a quick question. Someone was asking if the Intermountain GP releases are ETA'd yet, or are they just, hey, they're on the way, or what's the story with that? Did they announce it, or?
The information that I retained just observing it is pretty limited, but it has been announced. They did have the demonstrator model, so I guess it wouldn't be very far off. The good news is that InterMountain does seem to be behind have their production hurdles from a few years ago behind them.
Yeah, I think what happened was there was that one really big factory in China that shut
Yes,
down.
that's right.
And I know a
That's
lot
right.
of manufacturers lost their tooling. Now, I don't know if
Yes,
InterMountain did, but that threw a lot of people behind the eight ball when it came to the whole getting manufacturing back up and running.
yes,
It's
yes,
almost a small miracle that InterMountain survived that. So
yeah.
I'm
No,
just
so
glad they're still around.
it seems like they're coming back, and they're coming back big. And again,
Hmm.
this GP18 is just a harbinger of things to come. Oh, and there's George Pogatuk. I see down
Yeah.
here as well. Goalie George. We've already talked about the Blue Nami 21 pin announcement that I'm pretty excited about. Um,
Yeah, that's huge news. I didn't know about that. George,
yeah.
you didn't tell me about the 21 pin Blunami. Shame on you.
Oh, it was an announcement just for the show.
Yeah. Well,
So
I mean, I think all of the manufacturers wait for Amherst to announce their big announcements, right? It's the first huge show of the year. They're like, hey, get people excited. So I get it.
right. And
That's
then we
big
all
time,
know
though.
that
I'm so excited.
if they pass it to John early, he's just going to blab about it all over the creation.
Oh, that's horse hooey. I don't talk to anybody.
Only over YouTube.
Right. I talk to people, but not with them, right?
Yeah, right.
Uh, sorry,
So
I'm not trying to interrupt you, James. I just tried to make it conversational here.
no, I'm just yeah, I'm having fun. So a lot of great stuff. Now, so there were a few things at the show that just really blew me away, and I'm just going to have to pull up the video here.
Oh,
This was at Aurora Miniatures, and now they've built these cowled uh, SD40s and SD50Fs, that
hmm,
are full cowl units, and I'm just going to show the video that I shot of this. The
okay.
first time I've seen this on an actual model locomotive, they actually have the fans, the radiator fans rotating.
No way. That's an old joke
So,
that I had with my old buddy Dan that used to make videos here. Was
right.
making the fans move. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I used
I
to
mean, that's
always say that.
something
Yeah,
that,
but can you make the fans move? And he's like, "Oh, that'll never happen." And now someone's doing it.
and that's something I've dreamed about as well. But check it out. Here it is.
Yeah.
So this is
Let
their
me
new
bring it
one.
up. Oh, look at that. That is so
The
cool.
rear fan is rotating. Now, they say that this one is supposed to have the fans controlled based on the throttle.
Uh-huh.
Locomotive goes faster, the second fan kicks in. A little bit faster, the third fan kicks in, simulating the power load on the locomotive.
That's
Now, on
cool.
their former model, we'll just go over here. All three fans are actually running,
Uh-huh.
but there's no simulated thermostatic control. So
Uh-huh.
that I saw that one, and that
Hey,
just totally blew me away, and
yeah.
to the point that I'm almost wanting to buy one of these units just so that I can figure it out, like how to reverse engineer this thing, so I can do the same thing for all those Canon fans, and all those other photo etched fans that the other units have.
Right. But you
In
know what
fact,
though? Think about this for once. Let me interrupt you for just 1 second. What's going to happen is if they come out with this to the market, everybody else is going to have to do it too. So there is something really cool happening there. Sorry, please proceed.
no, and I know that I've talked with Dan Michio, about when we talk about our projects, and that's been a dream of his to do too, to put
Uh-huh.
rotating fans in his locomotive. That's that next step, right? Whereas a few years ago we were talking about putting step lights and LEDs into every little nook and cranny that we could possibly put it in. Now we have all these micro motors. What all can we actually animate on this motor? Now the sales reps told me would only be a matter of time until they would actually have little piston motors or piston engines in the locomotives,
Yeah.
so that you wouldn't even need a smoke unit anymore. It would just be small amounts of diesel smoke getting sent out into the basement.
Well, I am actually really excited about the fans. That is something that I've been talking about or dreaming about for, well, decades now. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm really glad to see. I did not hear about that. Out of all the stuff that I read about Amherst this weekend, I did not see anything about that. So you just made my day.
So and there was so those were some of the amazing announcements, and then it was also neat to talk to all the folks at the Modeler's Life booth. One of whom was Scott Lister from Greenville and Northern, and he had a a full framed house under construction.
Oh, cool. HO scale or
In S scale.
oh,
HO
S
scale
scale.
lumber may be a little bit difficult, but check out the detail on this
Sure, I'll bring that up as soon as I see it. Here it comes.
on this house
Oh,
here.
no way. Let's make this big.
So here we
No
see not
way.
only
Look at that.
has he put in the frames, put in all the framing on the 16-inch center studs, right?
Uh-huh.
He's also, if you look at the floor joists, you can see the crisscross cross braces on the floor joists. And this is only the first level.
Mm-hmm.
You can see on either ends of the house, he's already started the OSB sheathing, and he'd come
Mm-hmm.
up with a convincing way of representing OSB board. And then
Oh, look at that.
there's the second level, like all the framing in there. He's putting sheathing onto the house. You got more OSB in the pickup truck, and if you look closely at that pickup truck, that OSB is looking darn realistic.
Yeah, are you able to expand this on your lap? Are you on a laptop?
Yes. Well, let's
Oh, look.
see.
Yeah. Do this. Oh, look at that. That is
Yeah.
something.
So
Wow.
look at that texture on there. I mean, that looks like OSB board.
It
Just did an
does.
outstanding job.
I like how it has the paint on it too, because you see that they paint the outside edges of the boards.
Yeah, yeah, and he took. I think he did another framed up house construction site. He did one for an S scale convention, or the National S scale convention, won first place.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Not
he built the
surprising. I mean,
second
looking
one.
at
This is
this.
actually his second one. He said it took him about 21 days to build this one.
Wow.
And then he took it to the NMRA and just won first place in a whole bunch of different categories there.
Oh, that's cool.
So
Well, congratulations to him.
So I think that just about here while we're at it. Here's the YouTube meet and greet mini here at Mini Prince.
Right? I see Heath over there and Sparky.
Yeah.
This is cool.
This was the last I saw of him before Bernard shot his shrink ray at everybody, and that was the last I saw of them. They were all like little ants running around
Yeah.
running around.
He made them disappear.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but it was yeah, that's right. Bernard was saying that 21 days is about the same time it takes to frame a real house, and that's true. We got to watch that in real time.
Oh, right. Yeah, you had your edition, right?
Ours. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Wow, that was some cool modeling, though. So was there stuff like that all around the show that you got to see, or were you stuck at the booth the whole time?
there were models like that all around the show that I got to see. However, I was, we always had to have someone at the booth, and so we all
Mm-hmm.
sort of took turns doing it. But Amherst is so huge with 4 different buildings and all sorts of layouts, and I didn't even get into discussing the layouts, that you could sort of do whirlwind. When I had a chance, I sort of had to do a whirlwind tour of one building at a time, and go
Mm-hmm.
through and sort of look at the vendors, take in the layouts, that sort of thing. Who all was there, and and then meet and greet people all on the way, and so it was a fantastic event, and it's one that it'd be great if it were a 4-day show.
Yeah.
And I'd say it would be great if there were a day or two when you could just get together with folks that you know and just kind of hang out. Because one of the things is the idea of hanging out at the end of the day that we're going to go do this and this and this. Well, last night I was pretty much asleep before I entered my hotel room. It was
Right.
so it was it was a very exhausting experience.
There's a question
Um,
directly for you from Dave Hammer. Are you going to be at the Rocky Mountain show or at Train Fest or both?
um, so I would like to do Train Fest. The Rocky Mountain Train Show, we've already made plans to go visit relatives that weekend because that's the same weekend as the solar eclipse. That's
All
going
right.
through, and so we're going to be close enough to the center of that we've already made that we've made plans to go and try and observe it again. Um, like that, definitely be at the same
We
location.
know the answer to that one.
Yeah, no, I'll be at. I'm still trying to convince John to come out. Maybe John can start a GoFundMe to get his way paid to come out there.
No, OnlyFans.
Yeah. No, John will start an OnlyFans.
That's where people pay not to watch.
That's right. John will start an OnlyFans if you don't fund his way to come
Right.
out too.
Yeah. Last Halloween they were trying to rip my face off.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is. They thought it was a mask.
So yeah, it'd be neat. I've been talking to Sparky. Hopefully he'll be able to come out. It'll be neat to see a lot of people out there at the St. Louis RPM. I'm definitely going to be at that show myself. Hopefully I will actually have some projects complete at that point to present. Hopefully even demonstrating that Blue Nami in a locomotive, maybe even two.
James,
Yes,
I don't
absolutely planning
remember.
on being at the RPM.
Yeah, I don't remember, when is that RPM again?
This is so it's changed this year, and I have to. I'm not sure why I have to look it up every time I talk about it. But it's going to be July 19th to 20th of this year.
July. Here,
Normally
let me
it's
write
the
that
last-
down.
Yeah. Normally it's the last weekend of July, but this year it's going to be the 19th and 20th.
Okay, RPM. Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's a very it's a worthwhile show to go to.
Yeah.
And Train Fest, I've heard. Maybe Dave can correct me at this if I'm wrong about this, but I've heard that it's going to be in a different facility, not the normal fairgrounds facility that it's been in, but that this new facility will actually be bigger.
Yeah, Dave actually posted something specific to that. He said it's a great new location and a much bigger space. It looks like to me that they're quadrupling the space plus some. That's pretty impressive.
So it'll be neat if to see that grow. Just because these big train shows are so much fun to see so many people. Although it's really overwhelming too. It's like
Well,
like Bernard was saying, it'd be great to have them as 4-day events.
yeah. Do you know what's interesting? Sorry, what's interesting to me about it, James, is if I go to a train show, it's hard to get through it because I got people coming up to me. Hey, I watch your stuff on, like I don't think of myself as a celebrity by any stretch, but it feels like that, like everybody wants to meet you and say hi, and it is overwhelming. I mean, you probably wouldn't guess this because we've known each other and I probably don't seem like it, but at heart, I'm really kind of an introvert. Like if I have a choice to go someplace where there's a bunch of people or not, I don't go. I just don't like being around tons of people. But with that being said, I really enjoy getting to meet people and see friends and make new friends that maybe I've heard about but never met. Like at the YouTube meet and greet last year. That was really great.
Yeah.
But what it does though is there's kind of an energy or an emotional cost that when I go home or go to wherever I'm staying, I am just like out of it. Like I am so worn out from the energy, from just being face to face with people all day. So sorry, I didn't mean to grab this.
No,
Hey, wait a minute.
I
Yeah,
totally get what you're saying, and
yeah,
I like talking to people, and I really love that YouTube meet and greet. It was a little bit smaller crowd, and you could sort of do it little by little, making the rounds. But man, thousands of people coming by, and
yeah,
it's that was an interesting experience.
sure.
I really did enjoy talking to a lot of people.
What was your highlight though? What was like this is a question that's on the screen here. Like what was your most fun or important or key takeaway or however you want to put it?
Oh, I think one of my favorite parts of the train shows is being able to talk to the manufacturers, being able to talk to these different people at the shows, and just kind of work in some shenanigans and tomfoolery into it all. And
Sure, if you
like
can.
that was one of the highlights of the national train show. For example, working out that deal between Bernard Helen and Chris Palmieri,
The outhouse.
the outhouse, and the Suffolk Hoboken International Terminal, or
Oh, I'll
like
say it.
that.
It's the shit lines.
Yeah, the
But
shit lines, right?
that's what it is. Legitimately, that's what it's called. Shit lines.
And that was just me walking on the walking along the show lines, on the show floor, and seeing those two products, and like these two absolutely have to come together somehow.
I did not
Yeah,
realize
I really
that you were.
that out, Bernard.
Yeah, you were. Good thing you weren't constipated that day.
Yeah, there was good flow to that,
You might even say it was a regular occurrence. This is really going downhill. Going down the toilet here.
Yeah. Well, there's lots of good fiber to that conversation,
Oh boy. Yeah, we
So,
went there. I noticed the viewers dropped precipitously too. Yeah.
Well, excuse me. That's what you get for having me on, I guess.
Yeah. Well, put both of us together and it only gets worse. So,
Right,
but
it's a total race to the bottom.
yeah, for sure. It's going, like I said, down the drain. But I
It just goes down
want
the
to,
toilet.
right. I
Yeah.
want to chime in on favorite things about shows because there's a lot to like about shows.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot to like about conventions, and a lot of it's the same stuff, right? And
Yeah.
Trevor says typical TSG content. Oh boy. I hope that's not my reputation, but I'm afraid it might
Absolutely, it's
be.
the people. It's the
Yeah.
shenanigans, and you can't have shenanigans without people.
Yeah. This is what Bernard is saying, and he knew where I was going. We've had this
Yeah.
conversation, and it's always for me absolutely the best thing to meet the people and meet new friends, see old friends. A lot of times I'll be at a train show or at one of these events and see someone that I haven't seen in a year. And it's like, oh, I've been meaning to call this person, but just, don't get around to it or whatever. And then you see them and you're like, oh, we should catch up, and then you just stand and talk for however long, 20, 30 minutes, whatever it is. And one of the really interesting things about that is, and you hit on it, which is seeing the manufacturers, because guess what? They're people too. And a lot of those people have become friends of mine.
Yeah.
Right. So I really do. That's one of the really interesting things I think about the hobby of model railroading specifically, is that the people who make all the stuff that we buy are also model railroaders most of the time. And a lot of times they are like really, really talented, advanced model railroaders. So I like it. I mean, it's the people though, for me, always the people.
Yeah, no,
So
absolutely, absolutely.
I know the
And
question was for you, but I had felt like I really needed to chime in on it because I think
no,
that's something that's worth,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I it was for me 100% going around the floor talking to everybody, and just sharing this great love of trains. I think I was saying to Sparky was going around interviewing everybody, and so one of the things we of course asked him when he was live, I think Les Halmos asked him this, at when he came by the MRH booth. So Sparky, what are your deep secrets that you don't tell anybody?
Oh,
Oh, and Sparky was like, I like, and I said, well, the secret is he likes trains.
oh,
but,
yeah,
but we're all cool with that,
yeah,
We're all having fun with trains, so yeah, it's just great having so many people, come together around this shared enjoyment of the hobby and shared enjoyment of each other. There are uh, so many aspects of these conventions that are really sort of like family reunions in a lot of ways.
sure,
That you catch up with people, you hear life stories about where people have gotten to, that sort of thing.
right.
So yeah.
Well, I got a message here from Cameron that he just sends me weird messages. I can
We all
confirm
do.
this. Yeah.
We all do.
I want to say something that you just made me think of, and I wasn't planning to be on here. I know it's late where you are, so we won't spend too much time. A couple things. So, if anybody else has questions for James, who was just at the Amherst show, feel free to put them in the chat. We'll try to answer all the questions. I'm not important enough to ask me a question, so don't ask me any questions. But I want to say one of the things that I'm working on, and this is happening this weekend coming up. So a week from today, it'll be over. But Friday, Saturday, Sunday, this coming weekend, we're going to be doing kind of a local event that's called, well, originally it was called the Bay Area Layout Design and Operations Weekend. And now I've taken to just calling it the Layout Design and Operations Weekend because for the past 3 years or the past 2 years, and now this is the third year in a row that we're doing this, we're going to make it a hybrid event. So while it's going on, we're also having a virtual event for people from anywhere in the world that have an internet connection, and they can come. So if you were at the Rails by the Bay 2021 convention, which was the national convention that got kind of canceled because it was where I live, and that was the year of COVID where nobody was able to go anywhere, we did it online virtually, and people had a really, really great time. And I learned during that convention because I hung out in all the breakout rooms and on the Zoom event, and I talked to a lot of people, and almost, maybe not, probably at least half of them had never been to any kind of a convention because either they're too far away or they have limited mobility or they can't afford it or whatever the case.
Mm-hmm.
And by doing this hybrid or this virtual convention, they were able to experience the social aspects that we're talking about when you go to the train show online. Because what happens is in this online sort of ecosphere, if you want to call it that, atmosphere, whatever you want to call it, people get just as social as they do in person.
Yes.
And in some cases, it's even easier because everybody looks just like we look here. They're little boxes with faces and everybody's equal. Everybody has the same voice, So
Right.
ever since that event, it was like this epiphany for me. Like, oh my goodness, why aren't we doing this? it's not that hard to bring a live event to a virtual audience. All you really need is a computer at the event and a connection to the internet. That's really all you need. Now, we do them a little bit more fancy than that just because I have the equipment and the know-how, but that's all you really need. And there are so many people that would appreciate being able to be included with these things, you know? And it's like, why not? Why should people live in isolation in this great hobby when we can bring these amazing events to them? So I'm just like super excited about doing this hybrid event. I've been talking about it on the channel. If anybody watching is interested, you can go to bayldops.com and learn about it. I think it's like, I don't know, $15 or $20 if you want to join us on the virtual. It'll be worth it because the clinics are going to be really good. And Sydney and I are working hard to include some other sort of bonus stuff that would be harder to get online, except we're doing it. So we're going to try to include some other stuff too. And I'm really excited about it. That's my big thing that I'm doing this coming weekend. And it's really kind of stressful because this is also what I call podcast week. I have to produce and edit and schedule my podcast that's coming out this coming Saturday and also prepare for that big virtual event. So I'm kind of like,
Yeah, it sounds like a lot for sure.
Yeah, sorry, but thanks for indulging me because that's something that I'm really passionate about. And I'm really looking forward. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to a time when, people get serious enough about it that maybe we'll have a national NMRA convention that's also virtual, because it will bring a lot more people on board and it will serve a lot more of the membership. That's the important thing.
Now, I couldn't help but think this, and this is probably my immature mind at work, but Bay Area layout, design, and operations. Why not be baldo.com? Or are we worried about people worrying about their hairlines?
Baldo,
conversely, you could also, if it's baldo.com, you could attract a whole new audience that's trying to do something about their hairlines.
They might be the same people.
Which may be the same people.
Yeah.
And it may have been a long day, and that's, I just said something silly, but at any rate.
Yeah, that's okay. We expect these things. I just went on this nice, serious, but, soapbox rant, and you bring it back to baldness. Wait, are you trying to tell me something? I mean, I did notice that this seems to be further back than it used to be.
I don't know. My mind works weird when I'm tired.
Yeah.
But no, that does sound like a lot of fun, and I think it's a great idea to include people as we can in what we do. So that's one of the reasons I was wanting to make a post-show announcement. Just talk about what I saw.
I really appreciate that too, James. I know I told you, off camera. I was not expecting to have any Amherst anything on my show because I didn't go. So when you called me and offered to do this, I was just like, wow, that was really nice. So I'm very grateful to you and really thank you for doing that. Dave Hammer's asking if you made any announcements because you do your own 3D designs. Did you?
I did not make any announcements. I mean, one of the things that I had at the show, I think a couple folks, including Sparky, had ordered windmill.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd gone through a redesign of that where I cleaned up the center of it, added a little more space to the center as per prototype, and then added a little bit more animation to the vane of the windmill so that it could swing back and forth.
Cool.
So it could be parallel or perpendicular to the windmill fan, as you'd see in the prototype. When a windmill is standing still in the pasture, usually that vane is parallel to the fan. So that's that. I had that on the show, but I technically announced that earlier that's what I'd be bringing to the show. There are a few new projects that I'm working on, but until they're a little bit further along, a little bit further developed, they won't be announced.
Well, I have a deal for you. since you were nice enough to come on here and talk about Amherst without even me asking, you can come on a Talking Train show when you get that done, and we'll make a big announcement about it.
Okay, sure.
How about that? Right? Because we do Talking Trains every month. I'm not planning to stop that anytime soon. And
Yeah.
that's another thing I have on my plate to try to figure out what February show is going to be. I know one thing that we are most likely to talk about is, remember a minute ago, I was talking about Bay Area layout design and operations a weekend. Baldo. Where's Baldo? There's another.
It'd be easier to remember than the current website, you know?
Yeah. Well, Bay LD Ops, it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
But, and by the way, thanks, Dave Hammer, for posting that to the chat. In case anybody didn't see that, Dave Hammer posted the link to bayldops.com if you want information about it. But there's another event that we're going to be doing as a hybrid, virtual and in person, which is the Pacific Coast region, or PCR, of the NMRA. Every region has its own convention every year, or at least the bigger regions anyway. And this year we're hosting it in my division, the Coast Division, and we are putting on a hybrid event of our convention. And it's like a 4-day event. There's going to be something like 15 or 20 clinics by, some of our best modelers in this area. And I got to tell you, there are some really, really good modelers in this area. And that's also going to be available as virtual. And so I'm really excited. We already have like 50 people going to the virtual one, and it's still like 2.5 months away. So I think in February, we're going to be talking about that event, because this, what we call it the SIG meet, the one that's happening this weekend. When the SIG meet's over, I'm going to refocus all of my attention onto the PCR convention, because, look, see, we even have someone who signed up on the stream here. That's Robert. Yeah. But anyway, I'm really excited about that, because it's gearing up to have, probably well over 100 people in the virtual space. And really what's cool about that is that these people in the virtual space could be from anywhere. It's open to anyone. So James, you live out near St. Louis or in St. Louis. You might even meet someone in St. Louis that you don't know right now if you come to this virtual event, and it could be your new best friend. So just saying, I mean, it's that powerful, that there could be someone in Australia who doesn't know this other person in Australia, and they find out that they both love Southern Pacific or whatever. I just think it's really cool. So I know that we're going to be talking about that on Talking Trains, either in February, March, or maybe in both. It depends, how the schedule breaks out. But anyway, so I'm sorry, I'm excited about it. So I always bring these things up when I can.
Yeah, no, that it sounds like a great opportunity. Have to look up what all is on the schedule for the next weekend. I know that things get very complicated, because if everything goes as scheduled tomorrow, and with the weather being like it is today, I don't know if my flight out tomorrow morning will be delayed. I think I fly out just shortly after George does.
Is it that bad?
Yeah, well, it's pretty slushy out there, and it's just that it's the first flight in the morning, so I don't know if there's going to be a delay. But basically, Allison's going to be gone, actually in your neck of the woods, on business for the entire week, and her plane leaves about 20 minutes before mine arrives. So it'll be a hectic week for us, for sure.
Mm-hmm. There's a question for you. Let me bring it up here.
Oh yes, this porta-container crane possibly could work on that at some point. Like, I'm not entirely sure what we're trying to build here.
Is that something you have under construction now, or is it a current project?
It's not something I've done or even really paid that much attention to, if I'm honest. But
so this is someone offering an idea for a new
requesting the porta container crane.
Sure.
North America porta crane.
I don't know what that is. It sounds like one of those my jack things. Is that what they're talking about? The thing that picks up the containers and moves them along a right of way, or
I'll have to ask the Google about it, but
yeah.
I hadn't had any plans any plans of that in the development at the moment. So um, maybe sometime in the future. Let me just I really would have to look that up.
Oh, I'm looking at it now. Hmm. The porta cranes I'm seeing are for like engine jacks and stuff like that. I don't see anything for trains. Let me type in railroad porta crane and see what it brings up. I'm kind of curious now. Oh, okay. I'm looking at one. Let me it's a gantry crane that moves along the track. So it is like a MyJack. Well, actually, I think it is a MyJack. I don't have you seen MyJack before? I think that may be a brand of porta crane.
Yeah, okay, I see.
I'll bring up a picture here. Hang
Right,
on a sec.
something like what we were commenting on, I guess in Denver that were sort of observing working along the tracks. Is that
Yeah, the MyJack. That's what that thing was.
yeah
What
the
the
My
brand
Jack,
was on the side of it. Remember?
and that's
So
not made at all.
I don't know. It's apparently not. Or
I thought it was available.
hmm. Let
I
me
think I
see if I
remember
can.
seeing some on layouts, but maybe I'm wrong.
This is what I'm seeing.
Oh,
So,
okay, that
I-
sort of thing.
but you
Um,
see this one up here? It looks like it's. See, can you see my cursor?
yes,
It
yes.
it looks like it's on a wheel arrangement
It,
that moves it.
it's probably on wheels, and it's probably a rail that it moves along.
Yeah, it says
Um,
up here it's a rail mounted gantry crane. I don't know if this is what the person is talking about, but that could be kind of a cool model for an
yeah,
intermodal
it
facility,
would be
right?
a cool that train that takes the container off the ships. Um, hmm. Well, I'd have to look it up a little bit more, but I could say, looking at the model that we saw, certainly um, that would get right into the physical limitations of the 3D printer. Um,
Hmm.
that that
It
would be
would
a
be
huge print.
it would be a huge
Um,
print.
just the dimensions of it would be much bigger than the print faces that I currently have to work with. Um,
It'd have to be done
it would have to
in
be
parts,
a
right?
kit of pieces,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. And if you're making a kit like that, I would, especially with all the horizontal parts, I'd almost think you'd be better off um, doing something with brass or with wood, doing something like that. It would have much better strength. Uh,
Check this out. This is
yes,
the train containers down here.
but
That
then the containers down there, yes, is that more like what you're talking about?
or maybe he's talking about the ones over here. See these on the side?
Yeah,
That's also a huge print though, because look how big the
but
containers are and
yeah,
how big this is.
yeah, I'd say it would be beyond what the technology would really allow, and if it did allow it, like if we could find a printer large enough to do it, the that would be a lot of money to buy that printer, and then a
Yeah.
lot of resin going into that, and therefore make the cost pretty prohibitive.
Yeah. But
But
you're also thinking about building it to scale though, right? You could build the scaled down version to put like in the background of a scene, but in
right,
my way of thinking, you might as well just put a picture backdrop that has them,
right,
right?
right. Um, I'd say that, and I think too that if you're talking about something even of approaching that size, you're probably better off doing it something in brass,
Hmm.
right? Um, because that would have a lot more strength to it than 3D print. You wouldn't have the any of the inherent weaknesses to resin, um, and or the fine detail problems of FDM. But that would be something for someone else's department, I would think. Yeah,
Am I hearing that that's a no? You're not going to make that crane?
I don't think so. I don't think so. there are definitely some things I'm thinking of, that would probably push the limits of what I can do, or maybe even require assistance from a friend of mine to get it done. But
Roy Altham is saying that this one that he just listed the dimensions on is like $500 right now.
yeah,
So now I'm not.
That's in fact that's an FDM printer. That's not resin, which would have better strength theoretically, but the detail would not be as great.
Yeah.
And Dave, yes, I did see the guys at Lombard. Now that was fun, kind of hanging out with them and that sort of thing. They as their door prizes this time at the Lombard booth, they were passing out etched steel scale rulers that had like standard inches on one side, and then N scale and HO scale equivalents on the other. So that was kind of neat.
That's a handy tool.
But yeah, it was Lombard's first time, and it was definitely fun hanging out with Jeff and them. So
cool.
And as far as the other, he also asked about deplane hobbies. I may have passed their booth, but since I haven't really talked to anyone from Desplaines, it may well be pronounced that way in these parts, but deplane hobbies, I don't know them personally, so I was less inclined to talk with them and hang out, and probably something I walked by, but yeah. But
you're gonna hate me for this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm getting it ready.
Okay.
You're gonna hate me. The audience is gonna hate me. Maybe.
Who is?
Everyone.
What?
The plane.
Oh, Jesus.
You said that's how you're pronouncing it, so that must be
the plane.
All right. Hey, it's late for you. It's not really late for me, but I'm getting punchy. So
it's probably time to go before we get launching back into the shit jokes again.
Yeah, right. So now I'm gonna also have to put down the adult thing on here because I think we said shit 3 or 4 times now. Oh shit. Oh well.
Crap. Sorry.
Yeah. What are you gonna do about it? Anyway, James, I thank you so much. I really. Well, I mean, it's always good catching up anyway. So being able to catch up and talk about something that people are also interested in is nice.
Oh no, I'm not sure how much, and I don't have a photo of this, unfortunately. But, Bernard has been doing with mini prints some really neat edge of layout. Sort of displays. And
I saw those.
He's done the well, that Timmy keeps falling down, and last he finally says, okay, he fell down the well again. He can just stay there now.
Right.
He's another neat thing is he's done a bomb shelter.
Oh, I don't think I saw that.
Era bomb shelter that it's kind of neat. All the burrowed in stuff to go on the edge of the layout in the fascia.
Yeah, that's cool.
So
cool. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I was wrapping it up there.
That's all I have, and there will be more random thoughts for days to come if we don't cut ourselves off now. So.
Well, thank you very much. And like I said, I do appreciate it. I appreciate everybody for popping in on here. I've had a nice little pleasant stream, a little longer than I expected, but that's okay. We have fun. And if you're having fun, the time flies and it's all good. So thank you, sir. And we're signing off. So thank you to all the moderators too, for keeping things on track. I mean, with the chat on the screen. You can't keep us on track.
Yeah, no kidding.
So,
I think we went off the rails.
right? Yeah, exactly. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you later. Thanks, James.
All right. Good night, everybody.